10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, it's a Player's Perspective here at Seven Springs Studio in Atlanta, Georgia. And we're back, y'all. It's game time, showtime. Myself, Tom Covington, and my co-host, Ken Swillen. Say hello to the people, Ken.
Hey, how you doing? I know if you're on Facebook, you're looking for me. I'm not there tonight, unfortunately, but I'm here.
Yeah. My man is here. He's here ready to go and in the house. And my man is, we had to split it up tonight. You know how things are. Life takes over, things take over. But we won't make it happen for you all. And so we're going to make sure that we stay together. And we're going to use technology to make sure that we do that. And so, Ken, it's game week, baby. It's game week.
Yes, sir.
And,
yes, sir.
And we are excited about that.
All week, I've been excited all week, man. I just can't. Man, I tell you what. I'm trying to keep myself together, trying to keep myself from being, exhausted before kickoff and all that good stuff. So, this is going to be, this is what we've been waiting on. We were 90 days away, and then the next thing you know, we were 30 days away, and now we are 1 day away.
One day away, Ken. Absolutely. The guys have been on the plane. They're probably in Clemson, or actually, we drove the bus all the way up to Clemson when we were playing.
Right.
And so exactly. I'm sure they probably did the same thing and had a nice leisurely drive on up there. And they're over there in Paul Country and getting themselves situated, walk the field. Go out there, check out the stadium and the surroundings, maybe do a little walkthrough, get a little used to what's happening, but then get themselves settled and have a good night's sleep. You remember those days?
Oh, I definitely remember those days. Those were, I'm from that part of the country, so being at Clemson was kind of a normalcy for me. I always used to go over to Clemson to kind of check them out. So I had friends over there, and I played in, in Stevens County in Toccoa. So that was like 30 minutes away from my mom's house. So it was always exciting to go back. I called it going back home, to play there and to really walk on the field, to go up and kind of disrupt the rock a little bit, and then to kind of play. I always had really good games up there, so it felt good to play up there. And it's Death Valley is really we didn't play up there at night. I guess it can be an imposing place if you are kind of playing and it gets rocking. But the few times that we played there,
right,
it was very silent, and they were on pins and needles a lot because we really did a lot to make them have to earn a victory if they got one.
Gotcha. And so all of my Facebook folks out there, we're working on this thing to bring it to you. And actually what I would suggest is you guys go to YouTube. Go to YouTube and check us out on the YouTube format. And that the way you'll be able to hear Ken, to actually hear his voice and see what's going on. Ken is outside of the studio and he's calling in today. And so we're doing our show in a split setting right now. And so in order to make sure that we get this recording going, I've got it going on through Facebook here on one apparatus. And then we've also got it going through the studio on the Facebook platform. And so from what I understand, a lot of people are not able to hear Ken through one method, but they should be able to hear him on the Facebook platform that we've got going out there. So go to Facebook, go to Seven Springs Studio, look for a Player's Perspective, and then you should be able to get us there live tonight. So Ken, man, I'm telling you, brother, like you said, it's been 80 days, 90 days, 2 weeks, 1 day. We're here. Everybody's talking about it. It's crazy. All of the Twitter and the Facebook and all of the pages, people just blowing up out there. trying to hear what's going on and can't wait for this game to come. I mean, I think the fans are maybe even more excited about getting this game going than probably the players. I doubt that. But at the same time, everybody's fired up in GT Nation, and they're ready to go, man, and ready to check out these new Yellow Jackets in this new era with Coach Collins out there tomorrow night at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I think from what I understand and from what I've been hearing around the city, you know, there are a lot of Georgia Tech fans are calling in the different radio stations, you know, kind of beating the drum for Georgia Tech, and really are really excited about it. And we talked about it a little bit last week, but when there's newness around, it breeds excitement.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And now this excitement is just got to carry over a little bit. We've got to take that, harness it, take it onto the field, play well, and do what we need to do in order to come away with a solid game and a game plan and a solid victory. I believe there are ways that Georgia Tech can and probably will shock Clemson a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, because Clemson hadn't seen this side of Georgia Tech. You know, they're you know, it's going to take a minute for them to get used to the to what Georgia Tech is doing from the onset. So
right.
I think we have to take advantage of that.
And Ken, they have no idea even what we've got. You know, they know our personnel. I got a chance to listen to Dabo analyzing a little bit about what he's going to expect tomorrow and everything. And right now they understand what personnel we have, but they don't understand the personnel that we have playing in the certain positions that they're going to be playing in tomorrow night. And so right. It's going to be one of those things where they're going to kind of wait and see kind of thing. But our guys, man, you know, for 9 months now have been preparing themselves to go out there, move away from the option, get themselves into the pro style and start positioning themselves to come out there and start throwing that ball around as well as running the ball from either the I, pro set, split, those type of formations, and start getting themselves into position to start using the athleticism that they have and what they were recruited for in a way that doesn't come in the form of a scheme, but now in a more of the athleticism formations, getting them out there in the spread and letting this ball fly around a little bit.
And that's what, you know, that's what I think at the onset is going to be Georgia Tech's advantage. Clemson will make adjustments, and they, you know, it's not like they've never seen the spread.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I think, you know, from somewhere along the way, I guess the talk has been, or the rumor is that, you know, they don't believe that we have the athletes that we know we have.
Right.
You know, I think that somewhere in there, because Georgia Tech has ran the option and has been in an option program for 11 years,
mm-hmm.
people are acting as if the guys are not athletic, or the guys are not, you know, the guys that Coach Collins needs to win right away.
Right.
And I you know, we talked about this last week. I beg to differ. I'm so totally opposed to that narrative, you know, because we've been down there and we've seen these guys in action. Like we said last week, I believe that from the wide receiver and the skill position, I believe that that's going to be a real shock to a lot of people's system, because they're not going to be used to Malachi Carter, Donovan Sanders, and all these guys going up over them, touching and catching balls.
Exactly.
And making athletic moves, you know. And, you know, I think those are things that are going to, you know, I'm just shocked that people actually are following that narrative and thinking that Georgia Tech doesn't have any talent down on the flats. And, you know, from that standpoint, I think that's the thing that, you know, that irritates me the most, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because people are really carrying that from the national standpoint and here locally.
Uh-huh.
You know, we've got a lot of people talking crazy stuff about how bad Georgia Tech's going to be beaten and all that good stuff. And, you know, do we expect to win? Yes, I expect to win every time we step on the field.
Yeah.
You know, and no matter what people think might be the realistic answer or the realistic viewpoint,
right?
expect to win.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we go expecting to win. We go expecting to compete. We go expecting to take on whatever's there.
Right.
And as me and you talked about it, and we talk about it all the time, we have been there before.
Right.
We have played in big games before. So this game is not just, it is a big game as far as playing the number one team in the country, but we played the number one team in the country before. You know, so, you know, I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait for it to happen.
Ken, I'm feeling the same way. I was watching the ACC Network, and shout out to Big West Durham out there and on the Durham and Packers show on the ACC Network, and a lot of different stuff that has been going on out there, and watching different ESPN and analysts try to critique what's going to happen tomorrow. And I was getting frustrated the same way, but then I had to sit back, Ken, and realize that, you know, what do people do when they don't know? When they're in the form of the unknown, they actually start to encounter ignorance. They actually exude ignorance. And so it's not something that is their fault. It's just that they don't have anything to go on right now to even understand what we're going to bring out there. But you and I have seen it. You and I know it. You and I believe it. Now, the only thing I can just say is that, we will see tomorrow for sure what has been put together and how we play. But from the expectations that we've seen, even going into the spring game, and the execution that was shown then, and the way that we can go out there and do this, and how hungry, we talked about this last week in the show, just how hungry our guys are to go out there and to show that a lot of the hype, a lot of the things, a lot of this transition is not a fluke. And it's going to be something that people are going to have to reckon with us. And you can't take away the abilities that we've seen with Tobias Oliver and Lucas Johnson and James Graham. The ability for these guys to throw and run the ball, to be in an RPO type situation. But then again, you know, we keep talking about we're in a pro style offense, and
right.
and everybody keeps looking at us to really be in RPO. So right now, I'm loving their ignorance. I'm loving the fact that I'm loving the from what I'm hearing and what's going on out there, because the guys are going to line up tomorrow, and they're going to be better linemen. They're going to be guys that actually know how to pass block. They're going to know how to run block. Of course, we know they can do that. But at the same time, we're going to have athletes get out there and start showcasing these talents that they were recruited for, and getting out there in the environment on a big stage to go out there and do that. And right now, to me, the message and what we actually have to perform well in is the poise, and just being poised and going out there and doing that. And it sounds like Coach Collins is preparing these cats for that.
Right. And, you know, I think that's the thing that I believe that has been underestimated about Georgia Tech, and even about Coach Collins.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think that he's just a rah-rah guy.
Right.
You know, and I don't feel that. I don't feel that from him.
Yeah.
I don't, and I know that a lot of that is he has to do a lot of selling.
Yeah.
Or has had to do a lot of selling to kind of stoke the fire and get people back bought into Georgia Tech athletics. Right. You know, especially from the football standpoint. So I understand him having to do some things. But when we're on the field with him, when we're down there, have been down there to practices or whatever, you can really sense this guy knows what he's doing. He has a plan. He has an idea. Mm-hmm. He has an identity. He himself has an identity as a coach, and he is imparting that onto his ball players. You know? So when we hear those things, when we hear, I call it the false narrative, you know, of who he is, and he's unproven, he's this, that, and the third. You know, you have to take all those things with a grain of salt and just let everything play out. Yeah. Because I believe that, you know, that he's prepared for this moment. As we've talked about it from the onset, he's won in every phase. Mm-hmm. That's right. He's won in getting the fan base lathered up. He's won in getting his ball players kind of excited about playing under him, and he's won on the recruiting trail. He's won the PR game. He's won it.
There you go. There you go.
So now it comes down to playing real ball, and all we have to do now is go out on the field and kind of compete and do what we need to do. And that's the main thing I think I'm looking for tomorrow night.
Right.
I'm looking for the competitive edge. I'm looking for that competition that we have seen throughout the spring, throughout the summer. I'm looking for that competition when we were competing against each other. I'm looking for that to come out in full force when we play against another team. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And people talk about the physicality of what's going on and what we're going to look at with this team coming tomorrow. On offense, Clemson returns most of their starters. And so a lot of the guys are coming back. I think they lose maybe 2 or 3 guys on the offensive line.
Right.
But a lot of the skill players are still going to be with them this year. Trevor Lawrence has proven to be exceptional at what he does. But the one thing is that he is still human. And
right.
So therefore the human error element is still alive in what you got going on there. And of course, the way that you cause errors and you cause people to trip up is the way that you execute on defense and the things that you're able to put forth and out there. Tech is bringing in more of an aggressive attacking style. So Ken, looking forward to tomorrow. One of the keys to really how we're going to basically go about this thing is putting pressure on Trevor. I'm really interested in seeing how well we do that. First of all, up front, on the defensive line, Coach Marco Coleman and Coach Knight have been working with these gentlemen. A lot of our players now are 20, 30 pounds heavier than they were last year. They're leaner than they were last year. They're faster. And a lot of these things, to me, should pay off regarding the aggressiveness that we see up front. And that these guys are not even going to sit. Because, Kim, you and I talked about it. The ability to coach up our players was something that we thought was lacking. But right now, from the spring to the fall, I believe that a lot of coaching was going on. And these guys are going to show a better and a different skill set.
I agree with you. The thing about it is when you see the different body types, the change in the body types lets me know that there's some work been going on.
Yeah.
It lets me know that things are really, really taking place. And they talked about, Coach Collins talked about, the situation with every ball player getting better,
Mm-hmm.
and that, the gap between the first unit or the first guys that will actually be out there and, those guys that will come in and kind of fill in afterwards. He was like, that gap has shrunk.
It's definitely shrunk. That's right.
In the spring, there was a huge gap between that number 1 guy and that number 2 guy.
Right.
I always have said it. Coach O'Leary said it best. He used to tell us all the time, men, we're only as good as we are 2 deep.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a big gap between your first guy and your second guy, then you don't have anything.
That's right.
But when that gap that competitive gap is really shrunk. And really, it's really not a difference between the first guy and the second guy. It's just a matter of him getting an opportunity to play. Then you're working with something good at that point. And as my grandma would say, you cooking with grease then.
And it's going to be impressive. I mean, I'm just excited to see that. A lot of our guys coming back, like you said, leaner. More in shape, and then basically the difference between the 1s and 2s, the above the line concept, something new around here at Georgia Tech, something that Coach Collins is actually putting together so far as really establishing a group of 65 guys that are going to be able to take the field tomorrow. In the capacity of basically performing and going out there and playing Georgia Tech football. Guys that are going to be able to get out there, relieve different people. We've already seen the conditioning, so we know that these guys are not going to falter in the fourth quarter. But of course, to rotate guys in and out, giving them a breather and everything else is going to keep fresh legs out there. The expectations right now are just going to be how well we understand what our game plan is, and this is where we're going to learn, Ken, how great of a coach Andrew Thacker is, how great of a coach Coach Collins is. He was labeled the minister of mayhem for defense, and so we're going to see the way that he schemes and what he puts together to stop that RPO offense with Clemson.
Right, and that's going to be the thing about it, And the whole game is going to be a game of adjustments, a game of trying to get the one up on somebody. I'm looking for Georgia Tech to really come out and kind of set the tone, set the tempo offensively, because Clemson doesn't know what's coming. They can only look at film of other people doing what we're about to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they don't have any film on us doing what we do. They only know us from an option standpoint. I think that so the playbook is wide open tomorrow night. There's going to be a lot of things that and like I said, it's the first game of the season.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in college ball, you don't have a preseason. You don't have a preseason ball game. You don't have a warm up game to get ready.
Right.
This is big time. This is it.
That's it.
This is what it is. So there's not a better time to catch a team slipping than at the beginning of the season, because just as much as we know about them offensively, we don't know defensively how they're going to respond.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They do have some guys and some studs coming back on defense, but they're replacing a whole heck of a lot on defense.
Right.
From the Cleveland Barrels and all those guys, those 4 or 5 guys that were drafted high in the draft last year.
Right.
They're not going to be on the field tomorrow night. So I'm sure they got guys to replace them, but they aren't those guys.
And Ken, the other thing too, what we knew and what we loved about the Paul Johnson area was the aggressiveness of our wide receivers, our A-backs, the ability to go out there and mix it up with people. A lot of times you see in pro style a lot of guys that are more of the prima donna types that don't like to mix it up, don't like to block, don't like to do those kind of things. To me, that's just an added benefit that Tech is going to bring to the plate tomorrow night.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, because that's part of the whole deal. You got to be aggressive. You got to be physical at the point of attack and at the point of blocking. These guys that are at the wide receiver position for us right now are used to blocking, so they know how to get down and dirty with you.
Right.
They know how to hit people at the point of attack and do the things they need to do to get things kind of spread out. From that side of the ball, offensively, for some reason, I feel okay. I feel like we're going to be where we need to be.
Right.
Defensively, I feel like there's going to be some moments of challenge.
Yeah.
Because we'll have to be able to get some pressure up front. So we'll have to bring some people out of the secondary to do that sometimes, and which will lead to a lot of one-on-one matchups. Which we know at one-on-one, if you don't get there, you're leaving yourself open for a big play. So hopefully, we can get there and kind of mess up Lawrence's timing, get him off rhythm, get him off stride, and really just play a heck of a defensive ball game, and give ourselves a chance to win it in the end.
So, Ken, tell me from a defensive perspective, we're going to be doing a lot of press coverage and that kind of stuff. I'm sure we have zone mixed in there somewhere. What I don't know for sure is if Coach Collins is solely press coverage all the time. Maybe you have heard something about that or whatever is going on, but if he is or if he isn't, and we kind of mix it up from man to zone, tell me what you think so far as that RPO system. It's all, like you said, there's a lot of timing involved and stuff like that. The press coverage, to me, effectively executed, can disrupt a lot of that timing. And how do you feel going into this game that particular methodology will actually impact the outcome of this game?
Well, I think that that kind of plays into your strong suit of what you got
Mm-hmm.
defensively. You've got a pretty strong secondary, and so that's gonna lean toward that. Playing press coverage, just like you said, that's what you want to do when you got people running quick hitters and doing different things like that. You've got to get in their chest, get in that press coverage, and kind of disrupt all of that.
Right.
Because you're getting your hands on the guys and and not letting them get off the line of scrimmage, not letting them get to that spot, kind of interrupts everything that they want to do.
Okay.
And the main thing is we'll have to make sure that when we have those situations, when we have those moments when we're in press, that we're moving our feet, that we're getting in front of the guy, that we're actually getting our hands on them. We're not getting any missteps or false steps, or false reads, and things like that. Those are things that can allow time for your defensive lineman to get there. And all it takes is one split second.
Yeah.
1 second, somebody not being where they need to be, or from a secondary standpoint, not allowing him to get the read that he needs to get.
Right.
That's what you need. And I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a big key to what they're going to do tomorrow night. I really think they're going to, we have Georgia Tech has nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose and everything to gain.
We have everything to gain. We have nothing to lose. So, like I said, everything is on the table. We can do what we need, whatever we want to do offensively, whatever we want to do defensively. And guess what? Nobody's going to be like, oh, man, they shouldn't have done that. I'd rather lose taking a chance than to doggone sit back and catch people all day long.
Exactly.
And I don't believe that Coach Collins is going to be that kind of coach. He's not that kind of coach. That's not his personality, to have his defense kind of sitting back just catching people. So, they're going to know they were in a fight when it's over with. I know that much.
I know that you got that right. You got that right. And if you can see from all of the different clips that we do, they love doing one-on-ones, the old Oklahoma drill type stuff. And so the physicality factor is there from the wide receivers, defensive backs. There's no one that was exempt from getting out there and being physical and mixing it up with people. The tug of war aspect of it, which is just fighting, which is just teaching people to work through the struggle, work through the pain of fatigue and tiredness and work as a team and pull together. So from a defensive perspective, I am so interested in that aspect of what's going on. And I really believe looking at past references when we definitely sat in the zones and they killed us on the two deeps and hit us in the pocket there and breaking stuff out into the bubble screens and the tunnel screens and different things of that nature. It's going to be a disruptive attitude so far as the way that we key in on things. Wanye Thomas talked about it, his second year. Now he's on the field all the time and he's gotten a chance to get into some film and start understanding things. We know he is a physical specimen and a special player. Now with people like himself and Tariq Carpenter and Caleb Oliver, these guys now have learned how to read offenses, how to read and react. And then, of course, the mantra is attack, attack, attack. So it's going to be fun watching these guys. I love the fact that we have this type of game right now, Ken. I just love it because you get to play the best. You basically get to see the best of this type of offense, which is prevalent across the league, execute it, and then you see how you match up against something like that, and it can only pay off dividends for the rest of the year for us.
I believe that. I believe that to be the case too, Tommy. I think that that's going to be very important to us. That's going to be, and how we adjust to it, how we handle when bad stuff happens. We used to say, and I always have said, and in football, you can't ponder the play that just happened.
Right.
You always have to be on to the next play. So you got to have a short memory. And that as a defensive guy, I learned that early on.
Yes.
Forget what just happened. We got to play this getting ready to happen. And we got to win this. We got to win this one. We got to win this battle. So that's going to be key for Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech has to come out and for some reason or another, Tommy, I don't feel like the guys are going to be pressing. I
Mhm.
really don't feel like they're going to be. They've been through every scenario. Coach Collins has done a great job as far as from his coaching style, and we had a chance to kind of witness it firsthand. How they run practice, which was kind of totally different than anything I ever seen before.
Right.
And just having scenarios and key situations going on and everything happening all at the same time, learning how to take on all of that different stuff.
Right.
And so I think tomorrow night, is just going to be a culmination of different things, but we have to expect Georgia Tech to come out and compete. Expect them to play hard. Expect them to do what they need to do to gain the upper hand and to possibly come away with a victory.
There you go. And then the one thing I'm excited about too, Ken, is that Georgia Tech received some great news today about Miles Sims, transfer out of Michigan and hometown product from Westlake High School. He has been granted his waiver to actually be able to perform and to play. And so NCAA granted his appeal. And so now he is eligible to play. So that's some added depth that we actually add to the secondary to come on and play.
Right.
And then this game is going to showcase two products from Westlake. AJ Terrell from Clemson.
AJ Terrell, right.
And then Miles. So two Westlake products going, head to head. Both of them play defense, but at the same time, they'll be out there ready to compete and to shine and, for their local folks here and to go out there and perform. But if we flip it over to the other side and looking at offense, Ken, it's a new offense. No more triple option. We got like Coach said, we got a new position that's labeled on the roster, a TE, tight end. And so, I'm excited about that. But the aspects of where we're going to be coming out here, a lot of talk has been so far as who's going to be the number one guy. And it sounds like that there's possible chance that you're looking at maybe a Tobias being that guy or Lucas Johnson. But two guys that to me have really shown some great promise in the preseason and have shown the ability to throw the ball well, but also use their feet well. And then, of course, just to add on James Graham to that, this one's even a more special kid. He throws a great ball, a great long ball. We saw that. And he also has the great feet, but it's going to be the guy who has mastered it mentally going forward to starting tomorrow, so far as who's going to take over the reins for Georgia Tech.
And there's one thing I can say about this. I don't know who will start. Speculation is what it is, but nobody knows until 7/29 tomorrow night. But I tell you this: if it is Tobias, you've got a guy that's a great game-proven ball player.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, I know for a fact that he is game ready.
There you go.
I think, like I said, I saw him play in a state championship game as a freshman, and I was like, man, this kid is something special.
Yeah.
And then I saw him play firsthand against my son in a state playoff game, and by his senior year, and I was like, he was even more special.
Right.
And little did I know he was coming to Georgia Tech. So he is, and he came, and when he was in high school down in Warner Robins, they ran the triple option. They ran more of a RPO based kind of system. He did throw the ball a little bit,
right?
So this will get back to his base of what he wants to do, of what he wants to do, and who he can be. And one thing about Tobias is he's that kind of not a loud kid, but he's the quiet, confident guy,
right?
That you can kind of tell when he's in the huddle with everybody else that he's commanding the huddle, and that guys rally around him and really want to play for him. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's just one of those things. And you know, if you talk about Lucas Johnson, and I can see it not being Lucas or not being James, for the simple fact that Tobias has been in the fight.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A little bit more, and you know, and that would kind of, you know, I could see them being a little bit rattled because you talking about 9 to 100,000 people screaming, hollering Thursday night. You the only show in town,
right?
You know, so it will take you know, it will affect you some, whether you want it to or not. It will affect you a little bit, but you know, I believe in it. You know, I know all of them will see some action at some point in the night. I'm just believing that. And it just seems the way Coach Collins is going about this thing is that he has guys that whoever he calls upon in that given moment will be ready, willing, and able to do what they need to do. So you know, I'm just thinking that, you know, this game tomorrow night is, you know, it's not going to be anything new for Georgia Tech.
No.
You know, as we said, and as you showed the video of us playing back in 1990.
Yep.
You know, this is not new to us. This is, you know, playing in big games is what we do.
That's what we do.
Know, so you know, we just have to come out and play hard and compete and do the things that are necessary to put us in a good, favorable situation. You know.
Well, rising above the line and being the ATL, the 404, gold-blooded, we rising up and doing the thing, and we showing people that we can actually show up and show out. And tomorrow's going to be that. When we actually take the field up there with Clemson, the number one team in the country, 8 o'clock on the ACC network. Shout out to all of my different nations. I see a lot of people talking about their inability to maybe tune in because they don't actually have it. Well, I'm going to tell you how you can get it. You can actually go right on to Hulu, and you can get it on Hulu. You can get it on YouTube TV. You can get it on Fios. You can go to ACC Network and .com, and you can find out all of the different providers out there that would have it. Charter and Spectrum, they'll be having it also. And a lot of people are not familiar with the online platforms like Hulu and those type of things. Well, I'm sure you got a smart TV by now, and that's one of the things that are going to be on there. And Hulu and YouTube TV all actually offer a free week's trial to check out their product. And so all you got to do is log on to there and get them, and then boom, you got the ACC network and you can check it out. You can check it out through your TV, your laptop, or even your phone. And so it's a very easy way to get access tomorrow night, and also a way to put your current provider, if they don't have it, on notice that if they don't get it soon, then we're going to basically fire them. So that's it. So that's the way you do that thing. And then, of course, you know, a lot of those providers out there are way too expensive as it is. But it's just one of the ways that we can actually get in touch so we can root on our jackets. And a lot of our fans, I see Jacob Mashburn and Tyler Boger and the different people out there have all been blowing it up, talking about they're going to take the trip and they're going to go and watch their jackets up there in Clemson. And so we're excited about that for them. And Ken, I think you and I were talking about even probably putting together a watch party or something that we can actually execute and something like that for that night. And so it's going to be a fun night. And I hope everybody finds a way. Hey, if you don't have it, you need to reach out to a fellow Yellow Jacket that does, and maybe put together a party like that, you know. To get that on there. We have to be resourceful and get out there and show the support that we need for our Yellow Jackets tomorrow. And I'm sure that we're going to show up there with some the gold in the stands. But the unis, man, I don't know, Ken, did you check out the unis? I post the unis up there. They going up there with that silky white, man, and that beautiful gold. At least they're going to look good tomorrow. They're going to look good.
Harmon, hey. They winning that now. Let me tell you something. The uniform battle is over, man.
Yes, sir.
Over.
Yes, sir.
That doggone gold and white is so crucial, man. Oh my goodness. I was like, man, whoever it was, I think it might have been, I forget who it was that I was watching. Who was our model? Who was the model that had it?
It looked like it was Jalen Camp.
Jalen Camp. Okay, it was Jalen Camp. He had the doggone the full on the sleeve.
Yes.
Doggone.
That swag. They call that swag, Ken. They
Like
call that swag now.
oh, they was swagged out, man.
Woo.
It was crazy. It was unbelievable. I was like, you know, if they win it, if they don't win nothing else but the uniform battle, they won.
They won that. They definitely gonna win that. And so they're gonna show up. Adidas did a great job with that one, putting that together. And then obviously they're doing the tribute to Big B with Brandon Adams right there, and having all of that. His 90 number on the back on top of the back there. And then also Chris Martin, a good friend, D-line guy that's actually going to be out there. He has won with his effort and his determination, has won the opportunity to wear his number tomorrow and represent and pay homage to a great teammate and a great friend. And so they put that on there. And then the captains, man, they got the crown. The competition is King Crown that's going to be on the front with the C in the middle. Ken, I'm telling you, brother, they, like you said, they going to show up. They are not going to be outdone with their uniforms tomorrow.
Not going to be outdone. And I'll tell you what, you know, you want to compete in games like this. You want to compete at a high level.
Yeah.
You want to be there because this helps you in recruiting. This helps you, helps bring recognition to your school. This helps you in so many different ways. Because, you know, like we said before, you're the only game in town.
Yeah.
You're the only thing shown on TV at the moment.
Yep.
So, you know, you have to take that moment to shine.
Yeah.
And to reach up and grab the challenge.
They got to do it.
Winning is about taking stuff away from people.
Uh-huh.
It's not about just – nobody's going to give you a game.
You
Nobody's
got that
just
right.
going to lay down and say, here. You got to go out and grab it. You got to go out and win it. You know what I'm saying? You got to go out and take advantage of whatever you can take advantage of that can be to your advantage. And that's one thing I think that Georgia Tech's going to do tomorrow night. I feel a confidence about how they're going to play.
Yeah.
You know, I really feel like they're going to the moment is not going to be too big for them.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like they are ready for the moment. They're ready to seize that moment. And, you know, they've done everything they can do to get these guys ready. Now they have to step on the field and just, you know, know that the preparation and preparedness is about to meet opportunity.
Again, and that's you and I were talking about that. One of the great attributes of Bobby Ross was putting us in situations to prepare us for the game so that there was nothing that we can actually experience in a game that will not resemble some type of a situation that can come up to where we would actually have to execute and do what we need to do. Coach Collins has spoken about that, from the crowd noise to the sideline instructions to the way that people sub in and sub out and the different things that they do. If anything, you're going into an environment that's going to be crazy, it's going to be loud. I mean, people are just excited about college football coming back right now. So you know they're just going to be out there crazy. And then to be showcasing and launching a new network, it's just going to be the excitement level is going to be through the roof. But coach is preparing them for that. And so how awesome is it to have a coach that actually has a clue about these things and is willing to go and put time in to make sure they're prepared.
And that's the thing about it, having awareness just not about, your program, but having awareness of what's going on everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and getting your guys ready, getting your guys prepared. That is the most important thing that you can do. As you talked about Coach Ross and, having meetings with Coach Prefer and all those guys that we were there with when we were blessed to play at Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was one of the things that, and once I went in and when I went to other places, I was like, man, that was the best preparation I think I ever got.
Yeah.
Was at Georgia Tech a lot of times.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
As far as learning how to watch film, learning how to read splits, learning how to do the different things that were necessary to make you a better ball player. And when you got into the ball game, the actual game, it was like, okay, I've done this before, so here's what we're going to do, and that was that's the beauty of it, having a coach or having somebody that has the mindset to get people in a prepared state and doing what they need to do in order for it to really show up and make it easier in the game.
Right.
Because I tell you what, that's like something happening in the game that you were not prepared for.
Right.
Like what we didn't even talk about that.
You know. Well, that's a rough feeling. That's a real rough situation when you go into a situation like that and you see something that you really weren't expecting to see. Right.
But when you see stuff that okay, here comes number two. Number two's going in, so number two is going out. Let me look for number one. He's going to be on a post dig or curl somewhere in there.
Yeah.
You know what you're looking for now.
There you go.
So it's just one of those things, and I'm appreciative of that. I tell all the kids that when I used to tell my son even when he was playing, hey, you got to prepare.
Yeah.
You got to watch film. You got to study. Even when you thought you studied everything, study just a little bit more.
Right.
What do they like to do on third down? What do they like to do on third and long? What do they like to do on third and one? Right. Different scenarios have to be in your mind so that when you're in the ball game and you see it come together, you can be like, okay, here it is. Here it comes. Let me get to where I need to be. It helps the game slow down for you immensely. No matter how fast or how frenetic the offense is moving and running, when you defensively, if you're really prepared, you know exactly what's getting ready to come to you.
That's
by
it.
formation a lot of times, and you can play a lot faster. You can be in position a lot better, and you can make plays.
Well, you've heard it from Cooper on the offensive line at Georgia Tech. You heard the opportunity that Kenny was saying was that he's learned so much. And Zach Queenie also said the same thing, that they've learned more in the last 9 months, 6 months than they have since they've been there.
Right.
That now they come up to the line and they're able to read the entire defense. They're able to read what's going on, the formations that they're in, what's happening. And that, like you talked about, goes a world of a difference because it helps you to understand where you're supposed to be, what are the possibilities, what's going to actually come at you, and where some of the threats are, so that you can prepare and you can make your calls. It's something I know that helped me with route running to know whether a team was going to be in cover 2 or cover 3. If they're going to be in cover 2, then change to cover 3. If they're going to actually drop back into cover 4. Or if we're looking at a situation that cover 0 is about to happen. So you know the man-to-man, the zone, those type of things. Where's the hole in the zone? Man-to-man, how you can actually who you matched up with, and do you outmatch them? Whether it's size, speed, and that kind of thing. The learning curve is what I'm looking at seeing tomorrow, because as well as I. And I've experienced that, and I'm trying to help a lot of the youngsters now when coaching football to understand that the mental aspect of things can be an equalizer. When you have somebody that may be more physically better than you are, you can start to use your mind so far as technique, options, different things to outsmart them or position yourself better to actually win. And getting out there and doing these type of things. That's a lot to ask for the first game of the year, but at the same time, it's going to be something I feel that can be a winning difference coming into a situation like this.
I believe you're right, Tommy. I think that has to be that's part of the game. I mean, I always use a guy we played with. I think it was my freshman year, maybe your sophomore year. His name was Don Lear.
Okay.
I know you remember Don. We used to call him King Lear and all that good stuff.
Yep.
Don would knock your head off. Now, he wasn't the fastest guy.
Right.
He wasn't. He was very physical, but he wasn't fast. But he would always be in the right position.
Yeah.
Always be in the right position to make a play or to be where he needed to be. And that's the thing. That's what goes into preparation. That's what preparation will do for you. That's what watch film study and all that good stuff will do for you. It'll put you in the right position, and now you got to make a play. Yeah, you might be a better ball player than me.
Right.
You might be more athletic than me, but I'm going to do what I'm going to use my advantage of my mental state to outthink you in at this moment,
right?
And to anticipate what you're going to do, and make myself just a little bit faster because of my anticipation.
There you go. For a lot of people out there today, we actually are doing a remote. Ken and I could not be both in the studio today, and so Ken is actually at our South studio calling in and checking in with us. So. But if you can't hear the sound, or if you're having trouble with that and everything else, you can tune in on Facebook. Can they tune in on Instagram and all that kind of stuff? And on what else? And they can tune in on the page, okay. And then they can actually check it out so far as the sound. And then also you can listen to the rebroadcast of this show later on to actually get better sound if you're actually experiencing some sound difficulties right now. Ken, it's one of those things. It's real pretty much the 11th hour now. It's the time where all of the preparation, the practice, and Ken, I just want to throw that out there for the NCAA. When you're dealing with these kids so far as their transfer status and a lot of stuff that's going on, and then you just tell people, oh, they got to wait another year or they got to sit out. You just don't understand the effort that one goes through to prepare for a season, and then the workouts, the early morning, the late nights, the study, the eligibility requirements, the weight room assignments, all of the blood, sweat, and tears you put in to prepare for a season, to then not be able to play, it to me is a horrific situation for a lot of guys. And just to say wait till next year, that is so long. We couldn't wait for 90 days. We couldn't wait for, just to get out there and play. And you're asking people now to wait 365 days to be able to come back and to do something and to have that. And then, like I've always said, you got to reevaluate a lot of this stuff that you're doing, because these kids only get 4 years. And so it's not like, it's not like we have 10 years or we can choose how long we want to play and that kind of thing. It's only 4 years. And really the whole sit out thing to me is kind of crazy. I know that, you just can't kind of open it wide open. You got to look at some other parameters in there and what you need to do. But at the same time, kids, 4 years can be fleeting. And there's a lot of guys that are going to be playing tomorrow that have had to sit out 2 or 3 years just because a guy in front of them was better. And it's now time. And it's now time to go out there and play and be able to show your wares for the next 1 or 2 years. Give these kids a chance to get on the field and play. Give them a chance to go out there and do some things, because regardless of what's going on and how it's going on, after 4 years of eligibility up, the football is done. And if you're blessed to go off to go to the NFL and that kind of stuff, great. But most of us don't, and most people don't have that opportunity to do that. And you got to be able to let these kids, take and do things that they enjoy doing on the stage that they're looking to do it, and to go out there and have that. And we can't just take that like a grain of salt and just say, okay, no to this guy, but yes to this guy. And you really don't have any precedent on saying no to one of them over the other.
Yeah, and that's my thing, Tommy. I know we had one guy that didn't clear the won't be able to play or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I'm sitting there like, if Georgia Tech has done all the due diligence,
yes,
and he's passed through the clearinghouse at Georgia Tech, and he's passed, and he pretty much all the parameters that you asked for, they have them, and they're favorable for him. I'm trying to figure out what's the holdup.
Yeah, yeah.
And what was what is the deciding factor? And I'm like, my thing is, it's got to be a way where we can tell people a little bit quicker. Okay, yes, you can play, and we know you can play. Not the week of the game, not the week before. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They should be able to know this. They should have been able to know this 2 months ago.
Exactly. Exactly. And it took too long in the first place. It really did.
Right. Right.
It really did.
Right. Right.
You watch people that transferred out of Georgia going to Ohio State. You looked at guys that are transferring from Ohio State to Florida State or to
Right.
Miami, and you looked at a lot of these things getting immediate clearance, and these guys are like practicing and everything, knowing that they have the ability to go ahead and play. And it took us from I think from as it relates to Mr. Clayton out there, Antonius Clayton. I mean, he comes in April and he has to wait until 3 days before the game to find out that he's not eligible. That's crazy. That is just insane.
Right.
And
right. You're right.
So it's just one of those deals. And shout out to Mr. Clayton, Mr. Sims, Mr. Ezzard, those type of guys that are looking to make a difference here on the flats. We still love you. Jackets for life. And Yellow Jackets forever. You guys are going to be part of this family, and we're looking forward to the day that you're able to contribute and get out there and do some things. Hoping that the battle is not over for this year for you guys, but you also will know that the Hive is the best place for you, and we're looking forward to you all having a chance to get out there and showcase that talent and to make that thing happen. Ken, keys of the game, keys for the game for tomorrow. Like I said, ain't nothing to do but to play now. Ain't nothing to do but to play. All the preparation is done. Yep. A couple of meetings here and there, a little test to make sure you know what you're doing. But outside of that, brother, it's strap it on and let's get at it. So tell me, tell me some of the things that you feel from a defensive perspective we need to do to stop Clemson's offense tomorrow.
Well, my thing is, and as I always say, the key is going to be how we compete on get off the field downs, whether third down or fourth downs or whatever. How we compete during those moments. Can we get off the field? Can we get them to punt the ball at least once or twice or 3 or 4 times? Can we make plays when they're there in front of us to make plays? And that's what Georgia Tech has from a defensive standpoint. I think that's what we have to do. We have to be able to disrupt some timing, get pressure. If we could get pressure with the guys up front only, that would be great. But I know that there'll be moments when we have to bring people out of the secondary and out of that second level in order for us to get pressure. So when we do, we've got to get home. Yeah. We've got to get Trevor on the ground and make his life miserable. Make it rough, make it tough, and get get those things accomplished and get them done. And like I said, and win up front. We've got to, I think we can kind of control the line of scrimmage and kind of, that's on both sides of the ball. I think if we can change the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, we'll be doing well. And, and then you got to have 1 or 2 ball players to stand up. We hadn't even talked about, I can never say his first name, Quinion Brown. Yes. His last name is Brown, right?
Right.
The little slot receiver, the little freshman guy.
Yeah, Amarian Brown.
Amari. Yeah. I knew it was something like that. But I'm looking forward to seeing him play.
And Ken, I'll tell you what, though, on your side of the ball, I'm excited about Demetrius Knight.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the play. I was going to say I'm looking forward to see Demetrius Knight play. Heard a lot of good things, heard a lot of good talk. Mm-hmm. So it's just going to be interesting to see what happens and how it happens. Tomorrow night, and if the lights, I don't think the lights are going to be too big for him. And I think he's going to be one of those guys that we talked about, like we talked about with Charlie last year.
Charlie Thomas, yeah.
Charlie Thomas, rather.
Yeah.
And he's going to be around the ball and going to make plays, and that's the key to me. Compete. And when you get an opportunity to make a play. You got to be able to make that play and close the deal.
Now, Jahazel Lee is going to be playing defensive tackle on the defensive line also. And that's something that he actually did in high school, and then he was moved to the offense, and then now he's back on defense and actually playing both ways. So he's very excited about his opportunity to get out there and do some things. And so I'm looking forward to seeing him and how well he plays. and what he's able to do so far is providing some pressure up front. Our defensive line this year, Ken, is 300 pounds, 300 pounds, 295 pounds, 285 pounds, and 302 pounds. So for almost every single one of them, they're up about 20 pounds each. They've done it with all muscle. And so the size difference now has changed. The height, they can't do nothing about the height, but they're all ranging from 6'1" to 6'3". And I'm 6'3", and I think that's a good enough height, and to get out there and still be disruptive.
I mean, I know it's a good enough height.
Yeah. And then that linebacker core with David Curry, and then of course Bruce Jordan Swilling is out there. He lost some weight, and he's out there at 225. Ready to get out there and do some damage out there. And then, of course, like we said, Damaris Knight, who we understand has blazing speed and great football acumen, who's going to be out there, joined with Charlie Thomas, the guy that's around the ball all the time. Seems like, and he's a playmaker. But and then Quez Jackson. Just guys that are going to be, to me, that are ball. I mentioned this on Twitter one time too, and I said above the line is pretty much an indication that you are a baller, and that is the reason why you are on this list to play, because we see a lot of names that aren't there, and there are guys that just haven't balled out yet. They haven't done what was necessary to do what they need to do. Our defensive back core with Wanye Thomas, Tariq Carpenter, Christian Campbell, Avi Shoal are guys that we're looking at to really bring some upperclassmen's experience and to come in there and to do some things. And we feel like that core, backed up by Jalen King and Caleb Oliver and Johnny Kerr, is a stout crew. And players that did a lot of things last year to come up with some big plays. Virginia Tech, Johnny Kerr breaking up a pass in the end zone. Oliver played a heck of a game against North Carolina. And so these are things that these guys are looking to do in the show out. But then you're also looking at Trey Swilling, at cornerback. And you're looking at Zamari Walton, and then Jordan Huff, a freshman, another talented gentleman that's here with Jalen Askew and Javon. So these are guys that are going to be able to get some early good experience right out the bat. And then I feel like, from play to play, from series to series, and from game to game, they're just going to get better and more exceptional. Looking at the offensive side, Ken, I'm excited about Jerry Howard and Jamias Griffin, Christian Malloy, and then also these guys are, have been in the 3-point stance or been back there, running option. These cats get a chance to stand up now, the 2-point stance, and then be able to see the holes and hit the holes and get through there. And they're all exceptional talents in their running ability. And then you're looking at Jalen Camp now is going to be able to run some routes and actually see the ball come his way. Amarian Brown, a speedster, somebody that can blow the top off of coverages as well as Adonicus Sanders. And Malachi Carter, who has been basically on the mouth of coach all through camp. So these guys are ready to go out there and ball out. It's funny, you and I were talking about that, but Malachi is listed as 6'3", and you look at different things, and you never know until these guys walk up on you about how tall these guys are, right?
Exactly.
And so we're excited about them putting that together. But I think the keys, and then of course, my tight ends, Tyler Davis, exceptional talent. Even got a little mention from Dabo Sweeney regarding his abilities and what he's done over at Connecticut. But Tyler Cooksey is coming in there. And then our young fellas are backing them up that have started in this class with the two Dylans. And so it to me, you've got an opportunity just to execute, and it all comes down to executing. We understand that just going out there to throw the ball, to catch the ball, and then to get out there and to make a play is really what is going to come down for us tomorrow on how well we do that. The execution of how we do that and what we do. We don't have to do anything crazy or special. I know that say trick plays and all this kind of stuff. I really don't, there'll probably be a couple of them, but I don't really think that that's what Tech has to do to win tomorrow, I think what they just need to do is line up and execute. And,
Right.
and to provide an offense like this and to come in there and do that, it's just all about execution tomorrow.
And Tommy, it goes back to what we always say, what we always have said for the last few years. It's got to be about what Georgia Tech wants to do.
Exactly.
We can't worry about what Clemson is doing. We have to do what we do,
Right.
and be true to us. And and I know part of tomorrow night will be finding an identity,
Right.
finding what's working for us, finding what's special for us, and finding what we need to do and how we need to get it done, and who's going to be that the facilitator of those things.
Right.
So I know that those things are going to play a big part in it, but like we say, once we find out what it is, then we need to stick with it and go on and just be true to it.
And just be true to it.
And play well. And main thing I want to see on both sides of the ball is the level of competition, because I believe that these guys will play hard. I believe that they will go all out. But it's just the thing about it. We have to have those moments when we want to face some adversity. We're going to face some things that's going to not go your way. How you going to handle it? How you going to deal with it? What you going to do? And can you fight through those things?
Exactly.
And I believe that this group of young men can do that, and I believe they will do that.
Well, like you said, brother, we're going to be true to this. And here at A Player's Perspective, we are true to our Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, and we are true to providing you with the best perspective in sport, a true player's perspective on how things go down in athletics for our student athletes at the Institute over there on North Avenue. And tomorrow, they get a chance to represent for the greatest institute in the world that has the best global presence out there to show that, hey, Georgia Tech is back, Georgia Tech is here, and Georgia Tech is here to be reckoned with. And so they get a chance to do it against the number one team in the country. And I'm telling you, kid, to come out of there with a win, boy, I don't know, man. I think I'm just going to separate from my skin and just run around here in a skeleton form and just hightail it down North Avenue. I probably will streak down North Avenue if we win.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll need a new shirt size, because my chest would definitely be stuck out a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So all the naysayers who don't want to give us any credit, we are claiming victory already for our Yellow Jackets.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
There you go. We said it. Now you got it.
Now you got it. Now you got it. Georgia Tech with a victory tomorrow shocks the world. Everybody's going to be talking about them the day after, and it looks forward to an excellent 2019 season. Hey, we're looking forward to interacting with you all for this 2019 series season. We will be giving you pre- and post-game analysis, get you up there in the press conferences and showing you what's going on and what the coach has to say. Enjoying the fact that our Yellow Jackets are now ready to get out there and showcase what they can do with that new era and the new system. Shout out to all of our potential commits out there that have actually showcased their talents in the high school game. They did an exceptional job this past weekend. We're excited for them and all that they've done. Continue to do that. Have a healthy and prosperous year. And we're looking forward to continuing to bring you a player's perspective right here on the internet and cyberspace and all multiple platforms. If you didn't get the full sound, like I said, check us out on Spreaker. Check us out on YouTube. And I believe you can even check us out on Instagram. And so check us out over there and look up A Player's Perspective at Seven Springs Studio. And we look forward to hitting you guys back next week talking about the victory the Yellow Jackets have tomorrow night on ESPN or the ACC Network, actually. The ACC Network. Ain't it great? Y'all guys have a great night. We love you. Take care. Peace.
Peace.